It's obviously the final home game. What a way to go out playing for an Atlantic Division title. The final time you run down the hill. There's a lot of emotions, a lot of things to play for. This is a pretty big Saturday.
Yeah, most definitely. You got a great football team coming in here to Death Valley, and you know, you couldn't really ask the circumstances to line up any better for seniors. You know, had the division championship on the line this weekend, and you know, last home game, and like you said, you know, it's just a lot of emotional things that are going to come into play, and that's when you got to kind of, as seniors, you know that you can't play with the same emotion that you might have before the game, because obviously, you know, it's going to hit some of us to be in our last home game, and the crowd and everything. You know, it's just going to be a tough day, but it also needs to be a memorable and exciting day.
You've seen former teammates play their last game, come down the hill, watching them going, you know, I got a long time before that's me.
Yeah.
What is it going to be like now that it's you?
Well, first of all, that's, you know, it's like you said, I have seen guys go before me, and you know, it just seemed like it would have been forever for me to be here where I am today. But you know, those guys, it seems like their time here has flown by just like mine has. You know, it's just crazy how it's already my last home game as a Clemson football player. You know, things have just especially this year, it's just flown by. But you know, think about those guys. The last game here, you know, I think for the most part, I've seen them play the hardest they've ever played, and I think that's, you know, especially being your last game at Clemson. I think it's, you know, you're going to give everything you got for the guys around you. I think all the guys on this team are going to give everything they have for the seniors.
After that loss with Georgia Tech, now that you guys are going into this game, you know, what have you had to do, and what has Coach had to do to recharge your juices? I guess realizing this is an important game. It's not just senior day.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is having a couple of days off. You know, I think to get recharged, sometimes, you know, you just need to step away from what you're doing and kind of, you know, just fresh your mind and kind of take your mind back to where you started and how you got to where you are. So I think that's a big thing of off weekend. That's what we're able to do. But you know, I think the refocus, you know, was on just the basic things that we've done and how we became an 8-1 football team. And I think that was the biggest focus this past week. And you know, this week is just, you know, going to work like we have every week. You know, just doing practice like we have and working hard and trying to get the most out of the guys.
What's it say about this program if you guys are able to win a second division title in 3 years?
I think it says a lot about what we've done here. You know, I think a lot about Coach Sweeney and the coaches he's brought into this program, and a lot about the recruiting we've done. It's just really a sign of a change in Clemson. I think that's pretty obvious that with the athletes we have here now and the coaches that we're able to bring here, it's just you know, a very big deal for Clemson.
What are some of your biggest memories of playing here at Clemson?
You know, I can go back to the Florida State games, to the night games. Even as a redshirt player, you know, I was kind of just looked around and kind of in a day just how crazy this place was from playing Virginia Tech here. You know, just there's a lot of memory things, mostly the night games and stuff like that. But I think Florida State game here is when I played as a redshirt sophomore was very memorable. South Carolina game my redshirt freshman year. I think Coach Sweeney's first game here at Georgia Tech was a very exciting game. You know, I could go on and on. The list there's a ton of games that just mean a lot to me.
Do you worry about maybe not being as sharp? You played 9 times in 9 weeks and everything's going. Now you take that time off. Do you worry at all about going out there and not being as sharp?
No, I don't actually. I think that you know, I think once you do something as repetitive, we've done it, you know, 12 weeks in a row, count and count. I think, you know, it's kind of given. You know what to do. You know how to execute. You know how to make plays. You know how to score touchdowns. You know what you have to do in order to win. And I think the only thing we learned from the Georgia Tech game is how hard it is to win a game at the college level. I think that's you know, just evident to everybody that, you know, you can't take it for granted. You can't take winning for granted, and you got to understand, you know, what you did to get the win and how hard it is every week. You know what you have to do in order to get that win.
What's the biggest thing you took away from the opening personally?
Just taking my mind off of it was the biggest thing for me. You know, I think just going home to my family and kind of. I really didn't even watch much football at all on Saturday. You know, I was able to get away from everything and kind of just take it easy and, you know, take my mind totally off the game. And I think when I came back here Sunday night, I was just refreshed and ready to go. I think that's the best thing for me.
Do you ever think gives players a time to recognize formations better? Looking at your career the last 2 years, did you play better coming out of an open day? I'm not talking about the line, but just you personally.
You know, I really hadn't kept a track record of how I've done out of the off weekends, but I think that I would probably say, you know, I think you play better when you're more rested. You know, that's always how I've always been. You know, I think when you when your body's kind of in pain. We've had a lot of guys playing through injuries. Not that I have, but I have been playing through soreness and kind of stuff that you have to just keep playing with. You don't really have a chance to relax your body.
So it's more about that necessarily than, say, the extra prep time and repetition for one team as you get in a given game.
I think so. I honestly think when you're preparing for teams, I think a week preparation, there's not much more you can do than a week. And I think anything else is just a little bit extra. And I think we got to that, what else we needed, but I think the biggest thing was just the rest.
Is it a mental setback at all that you guys, you're obviously playing for a division title, but now with the national championship hopes kind of out there, they were there for a good 6-7 weeks, and now they're gone, and now it's just a division title. Does that kind of taper it down a little bit?
I don't think so. I don't think any of us really. Not that we didn't have our eyes set on a national championship, but I think we had it set on one goal at a time, and that's our objective is to accomplish all our goals. And I think the next goal for us is the Atlantic Division, and I think we've had our mind set on that since day one. I think with all the talk about being national champions and us being in the position we were when we were 8-0, I think that our minds were pretty open to the fact that we knew what we had to do in order to get to where everybody thought we could be. And I don't think. I think a lot of guys done a better job of turning the TV off and not listening to all the hype, and then and just went to work and did what we had to do.
What's it like for you being part of the Leadership Council this year? What's that experience like?
That's a extreme. That's an honor for me. To be picked by my position coach to be in that, to kind of have an effect on other guys. I think that when you've been here, this will be my 5th year. Or 5 years for me in December. And I think when you've been here as long as I have, you've seen a lot of things, you've dealt with a lot of things, and you've had a lot of leadership. You've seen a lot of guys lead, and so you therefore you know how to do it. So I think it's huge for me to be able to be in the position I am and lead this team. And I think the best thing about being a leader is when you put the guys before you, really see guys grow up, and you put the team in front of you, and you kind of that's to me that's being a leader. And I think I've learned that through 45 years being here, that being a leader is really about putting the team in front of yourself, and I think you have to do that in order to really understand how to be a leader.
What's a typical meeting like that? What do you guys go over in a meeting like that on Mondays?
It's just one of those things where you just go over our weekly accomplishments and how the obviously the team demeanor is. And you just want to keep what we have to talk about to keep everyone focused. What every week we try to set a standard of focus for this team, and I think for this week, obviously we're focusing on Wake Forest, and that's all that really matters. It doesn't matter about the ACC championship. It doesn't matter about anything. We got to beat Wake Forest to do anything. So I think that's just zoning in on the focus is really what the Leadership Council is about.
Has it been different being a senior in this team because you have so many young players? I mean, I think like 42 true and redshirt freshmen or somewhere in that nature, and a lot of them that have gotten playing time this year, a lot of them.
Yeah, I think it's been a lot different, obviously because of the young guys. But I think to have such a young team, all those young guys have really bought into what we're doing, and I think it makes it really easy to lead when you got, especially when you're winning, and then when you got guys buying into the leadership that you're portraying.
Roughly, how many players make up the Leadership Council?
I think it's about eight or nine of us. There's one from each position. There might be 2 guys from one position, I think, but it's mostly 8 or 9 guys.
4 on offense, 5 from defense.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's usually that's what it is.
All in, all done.
Thanks, Lane.
Yeah, no problem.
Who corrected you?